Good afternoon. It's Miss Kim with Miss Kim's Tarot and Tearoom.com. It is Sunday, May the 3rd at 12:56 p.m. I'm going to cover some different things that I normally do not do, but I felt inclined to because of something that happened, this past month in April, and also of a conversation that I had with my client yesterday while I was getting ready to book with her. So yesterday was obviously the 2nd of May, and I was talking to my client, and she said that she had been feeling dizzy, and I said I had too. I have felt ungrounded, and then I remembered that we were having pretty strong Geo Storms at this time. And then I thought about on April the 8th, my little Chiweenie had a seizure. Xander has never had a seizure the whole time that I've had him. He's a sensitive dog, but he has never, had any symptoms of a seizure. And just out of the blue, when he first woke up, we went outside and he had a seizure. That's actually how I ended up hurting my leg, because I was running to get help. And I think because of his weight and me running, something gave way. But anyway, so as I was talking to my client, I said, we are having some geomagnetic storms, and it says the most high is a G5, is what I just learned. And then here it's saying that there's moderate storms. But anyway, I asked if there was a significant geomagnetic storm around April the 8th, 2026. And the answer was April the 7th, activity began as a weak storm of 4. And then on the 8th, it intensified to a red level event with a K index of 5. And then it said April the 9th, it reached its peak of a K index of 6, which I don't understand because I was shown that the highest was a G5. So I don't know anything about that. But I do know when we had the last activity, it was a couple of months before that, my stepdad had a stroke. And my neighbor, the day after his stroke, had one as well. Because we have an electrical system in our body, and these storms affect our electrical storm around our body. Like, we have an aura around us, and of course it's going to, I'm trying to get the words out, it's going to affect us. Well, I asked if it affected you physiologically. And some of the things that it says was created palpitations, increased blood pressure, decreased HRV, headaches, dizziness, altered sleep patterns, irritability, disrupted sleep, fatigue, lethargy, a fizzing sensation of the nervous system. Yesterday, I could hear myself fizzing. And that surprised me when it said the word fizzing. But other things said that it doesn't. But my question is this. If geomagnetic storms do not pose a direct physical danger on humans, as the magnetosphere shields us from harmful radiation, then why can it knock out a power grid? At the same time, it says, use Faraday cages to protect electronics and have emergency supplies, and make sure that you have gas, avoid elevators. And then it says, for self-care for physiological issues, maintain hydration, 1.5 liters to 2 liters a day of water, and 7 to 9 hours sleep. Practice relaxation such as meditation or yoga. Limit physical strain. And what to do during a solar flare. Stay indoors. It helps you stay safe and informed if power grids fail. I don't know about you, but to me, that is telling me that there is something that happens to your body. But I've seen other things where it can even cause heart attacks and things like that. So, is it a coincidence that my dog, when we had the highest red, what is they call it, a red level event, that he happens to have a seizure that day, and the last time it was that high, that my stepdad and my neighbor had a stroke, because they've never had any issues like that before. So I do think that it affects your health, and I think it's something to really look at. If it can knock out a grid and knock out power supplies, why can't it affect people's health? Of course it affects our health. So, but nobody wants to say that, but I'll say it because I don't have a problem with it. Okay, moving on. That's just something that really, let me know, because I was hearing a fizzy thing in my body. I could feel fizzy and hear it. So, I'm going to do some astrology, some of the aspects for tomorrow. So, on the 4th, the moon will be in Sagittarius. We have a moon opposition Venus, so there could be an excess of emotions. You got to watch with that. Sagittarius lightens things up, but when you have an excess of emotions, those could be with a fire sign. They could be more prone to anger or hurt feelings that respond with anger. Then we have the moon quincunx sun. That's a period of self-examination and transformation. So you may encounter something that moves you into a direction of making a change to transform yourself or a situation. Then we have the moon trine Mars. It's a harmonious, cheerful, and exciting period with that aspect. And then we have the moon quincunx Jupiter, which is questions concerning your philosophical outlook. Our outlook about life is changing. I mean, you cannot not have that happen with the way that things are in our lives right now. And then shortly after, around 10 p.m., Mars will square Jupiter, and we will have possibly the urge to get away from everything and just kind of go, and to get some space, mental space, or just to get out of a situation. I'm feeling that already. Then the moon goes void, of course, from 5:33 p.m. on the 4th of April to 3:05 p.m. on the 5th of April. So during that time, on the 4th, after 5:33 p.m. up until the late afternoon, 3:05 on the 5th, don't try to do anything that's going to require focus or getting something done, because it's just not going to happen. Wait until that moon goes into Capricorn at 3:06 p.m. on the 5th. Then we're going to have the moon quincunx Uranus. Abrupt changes in moods unsettle old patterns. So something could come up that brings you right back to being triggered, and an old pattern comes up. If you've got issues with addiction, you might want to get out your favorite addiction, and you might have a relapse. At its worst, at its best, it'll give you the opportunity to see where you're triggered and where you're weak and where you can heal. Then we've got Mercury squaring Pluto. Minor mistakes, overspending. So just pay attention to what you're doing so that you won't have minor mistakes that become bigger mistakes. And then we have the moon squaring Neptune. The judgment will be poor. You may be gullible or impressionable, but wherever Neptune is, sometimes our focus goes out the window, and you just need to make sure that you are seeing things clearly, that you are not looking at something and through rose-colored lenses. So these are my warnings. I don't know what's going on here with me. I feel that I need to talk to you about these Geo Storms. The moon is already in Sagittarius, so the Scorpio stuff is over. And I'm a Scorpio, so I'm always looking underneath the surface to find out what's really going on. I've been like that since I was a little girl. Now, I think I'm going to do a little card reading. I'm on a different device, so I'll have to hold the cards up so you can't see my hands. Today, I was finally able to get ready because my knee is getting a little bit better. It could take 8 weeks before it's actually healed, but so I've had to adjust the way I do readings, where I go. I don't like these limitations, but it certainly made me appreciate walking and what it would be like if I wasn't able to, like a permanent thing. That's really scary. And I don't ever want that to happen because I love to walk. And it's just a good exercise and it clears your head. So that's been a challenge for me. So let's just say, hey, what is the week of May the 3rd until the 9th going to be like collectively? So like, what do we need to know as a collective consciousness about this week ahead? I guess that's the best way to do it. This might be a little bit. So emotions, but the emotions of masculine energy. The king is always a very fair-minded person or a fair-minded situation. I will treat you fairly. I am sensitive to how you're feeling, but I'm still going to be just in how I make my call or judgment. And any obstacles could be reliability or responsibility, but since it's the obstacle position and this card is positive and it's upright, that's not really an obstacle to be responsible unless you're being over responsible. So just know what is yours, what belongs to you, and what belongs to someone else. And then the best we can arrive at, watch for impulsiveness or being too domineering or aggressive, too highly aggressive. That's kind of some Martian energy going on there, because of the intellect feeling like it's threatened. What you can work with and use is animation, a good sense of humor. This can be an actual person. The queen is always animated. She has a good sense of humor. She loves to be outdoors. She loves animals, particularly cats. She is a queen in the highest sense of the word. This is a Leo diva woman, but also we may have that kind of diva energy that we can work with and use for our benefit. And this is saying you may feel like you are going in with blinders, but what is called for is faith and communication. This moon in Gemini is going to be very important. And since we are the Gemini moon is going to be significant around the 16th, the 17th of May to the 18th. So communication is going to be very important. Going forward in faith and having a sense of vulnerability, but not being gullible. You know, there's a difference. You can be open but not gullible. And here we have some messages coming in about business, and things are getting ready to hit a 20-month cycle of complete changes, reforms, things having to do with renewal of issues, reforming them to create something that's going to even be better. It's definitely saying that we could get some news that could be upsetting between now and the next 8 days. This card always puts you in a position, I can't go back to the way things were, the way that things were. I cannot stay where I am because I am stagnant, standing here, not moving forward. And moving forward feels scary because you don't have a guarantee and a prediction of how things are going to play out. It leaves us in a space of feeling too vulnerable to the point that we're not sure if we can proceed. But you can. You have to do it with faith, one step at a time. And then we have something that is going to be very surprising, that's going to kind of take our plans and turn them upside down. What is left that we can work with will remain, but everything else may have to be scrapped and we start over. Sounds fun, doesn't it? And then here we have most of the decisions that we make are temporary. We have to be careful about being in disillusionment, where we think we really are seeing things clearly when what we're doing is looking straight at an illusion. Really need to pay attention to what's going on, not how we want it to be, but how it really is. That is painful because nobody wants to say they've given up, but we also don't want to say we were duped either. So look at the situation for what it is, not what we want it to be, but what we are staring in the eye right now, saying this is what it is. And we can work with that, because once you can be honest with yourself about it, then you can move forward and do something about it. And then we have hopes and fears. I just don't know if I want anything else added on my plate. Although this comes from a divine gift, I just don't know if I have the bandwidth to give one more ounce emotionally to it. You may have had several attempts and something really amazing comes out that's an opportunity, but it's like, I don't have trust in it, I don't believe in it, and I don't know if I'm going to do it. It's because you're weary emotionally. You've had too much coming at you. You've tried and tried and tried. The problem is you're trying with the same things that you tried with before, and that's not going to work. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, is called insanity. And the outcome says, from these things, we are going to become much wiser and have more clarity and have more truth. So I guess after going through a blender, we do learn our lesson and we're able to move forward with some things that we want to do. But we've got to take care of ourselves so we won't get to that point of emotional exhaustion where we don't even want to accept good opportunities because it's just one more thing that we have to do or take care of. I get that. I get it, because my bandwidth has lowered greatly just because of an injury. And if somebody has been under duress and stress for a long time, even things that they want to do and they love, they will not do it because they're burnt out and they just want to conserve, because they're shut down, what energy they do have just to survive. And we're trying to get into thrive mode. We've already done the survival thing. It's time for us to get back to thriving. We went through 4 really hard years, and probably more than that, 6. But so you got to take care of yourself. And I really wanted to put that out there about the Geo Storms, because if you can knock out a whole power grid and electricity, don't tell me it's not going to help do something physically to the human energy field and you actually physically. So that's all I've got. I hope that you have a wonderful week. I am Miss Kim with Miss Kim's Tarot and tearoom.com. I'm going to put my contact information. If you like what you're hearing, give me a thumbs up. If you've got any comments, I would love to hear them. Just don't beat me up too bad. And I will talk to you later. Bye.